Hello everyone. In this video we're going to be doing subdomain visit count, which is LeetCode 811. So this problem states a website domain discuss.leetcode.com consists of various subdomains. At the top level we have com. At the next level we have leetcode.com, and at the lowest level discuss.leetcode.com. When we visit a domain like discuss.leetcode.com, we will also visit the parent domains leetcode.com and .com implicitly. The count paired domain is a domain that has one of the two formats, rep d1.d2.3 or rep d1.d2, where rep is the number of visits to the domain and d1.d2.3 is the domain itself. For example, 9001 discuss.leetcode.com is a count paired domain that indicates that discuss.leetcode.com was visited 9001 times. So if we're given an array of count paired domains, we're going to call it cpdomains, we're going to return an array of the count paired domains of each subdomain in the input. You may return the answer in any order. So what they mean by that is, so in this first example, we have 9001. So discuss.leetcode.com was visited 9001 times. So what they want is for us to basically break these down into the subdomains. So here's .com. You see .com was visited 9001 times. LeetCode.com was visited 9001 times. And then discuss.leetcode was visited 9001 times. So that one's pretty straightforward because there's just one domain. So now if we look at the second one, this one's a little trickier because as you can see we have .com, 1, 2, 3 of the 4 domains. So we have to add those. So we have 900 plus 50 plus 1. So that's where you get .com is 951 times. The same thing for mail.com. We have mail here and mail here. So we have 900 plus the 1. So we have 901 times that, mail.com was visited 901 times. Yeah, so, yeah, 915, okay, yeah, and then, or the last one is only visited 5. So, how we're going to do this is use a hash map. The key value pair. So we'll basically record each subdomain. So we'll record google.com, then we'll record mail.com, and then we'll record .com. And then the second pass through, we'll check to see if we'll have to splice apart, like in this example, we'll have to splice apart yahoo.com into yahoo.com and .com. And we'll have to check the hash map to see if those subdomains exist. So let's see how to code that. Alright, so we're passing in our string array, and we want to pass back a list of strings as the answer. And so after we get everything in the hash map, we're going to have to convert that back to a string list. So the first thing we'll do is we'll create the hash map. It will be a string, which is the domain, and the integer is the count, the number of times that that domain has been visited. Call it map and instantiate it. So we're basically just going to go through each string in the CP domains. So like, for example, if yahoo.com would be the first, let's say we'll use that as an example, and it was visited 900 times. So we'll make a string array and we'll split that. So we'll separate the 900 and we'll separate yahoo.com. So we'll define a number for array sub 0, which will be the 900 in the example I'm using. So we'll put that in number, and then the length will be array sub 1 or index 1, the length of that. So we need to get the length of the domain so that we can parse through each character. So if the map contains the key, so if it contains yahoo.com, then what we're going to do here is, so we're going to do a map.put. We're going to put this at position array.1. So if we find yahoo.com at array.1, we're going to put at yahoo.com, we're going to do a map get. So it's going to get yahoo.com, which will get the key and return the value. So let's say there was already a yahoo.com in here that had 50. So it looks for yahoo.com, it sees that it has 50. So we have 50 here, and then we add the number, which was the 900 that I used. So this should get a little bit clearer when we go through the debugger. But this is basically doing a put and a get. Else, we're just going to put it into the map. So array.1 is the string, and the number is the integer. All right, so now we're still inside this array here, or this for loop. So now what we need to do is go through each character in the domain string. So what we're going to do is we're going to look for the dot in the domain, and we're only going to care about anything after the dot. So we're going to put everything inside this if statement. If the character is not a dot, it's just going to go to the next character. So we're going to define a temp string, and it's going to be the substring of I plus 1, so that will get rid of the period and then the length. So in our case of yahoo.com, it finds the period after Yahoo, and so the length will be 3, and it'll put the word com in temp. So if the map contains temp, we're going to do the same thing we did on the previous slide, where we're going to get the value that's currently at temp, if there is a value. Yeah, I mean, it will be because it found it. So then we get the current value of temp, and then we add the number associated. I guess we were using 900, so let's say temp had 5 in it, and then it will add 5 plus 900. And that will be the new value in the temp. Else, we're just going to put the temp value and the number into the map. And we'll go through each character, and that will close out the for loop, and then we'll close out the original for loop that had us go through each string, or each domain in the string array. And then finally, we need to just convert that to a linked list. So we'll make a new linked list. I'll call it answer. So for each entry, string, which is the domain, integer the number, we'll call it entry, map entry set. So get each entry in the hash map. So string num equals entry get value. And so we're going to add the number plus a space, and then plus the entry get the key. So this will return, this will add to answer basically 900 in our case that we're using, an entry get key, so it'll be yahoo.com. And it'll just keep going through until it converts all the values in the hash map to a string list. And then we'll return that, and that is all she wrote. So let's debug this and see what we get. Okay, so I used the second example because it has more than one domain. So we'll start here, creating our map. So for each value in cpdomains, so the first value is going to be 900 and then google.mail.com. So the number will end up being the 900 because we split it up here, and then length will be the length of google.mail.com, which is 15. All right. So if the map contains google.mail.com, which it doesn't, then we'll just put it into the map. So map has size 1, google.mail.com, and the 900. So now we need to go through google.mail.com and each value. So this is going to check if it's a period. So we're going through Google here. So it's just going to go through until it finds, all right, position 5. Okay, 2. So at position 6, we found a period. So we're going to assign temp equal to the value of array plus, or at array index 1, we're going to substring I plus 1. So it'll add 1 to that. So we have, you can see temp here is now mail.com. And so we're going to put that into the map. So the map has size 2. So all we did here was strip off the Google. So now we have googlemail.com and mail.com, and it also has 900. So now we're going to keep doing this because we've got to get the .com. So this is going through the word mail, and now we're at the word .com, or just com. So if map contains, which it doesn't, and then we'll add that to the map. So we look at the map now. It's got all 3 of them. Com, googlemail.com, and mail.com, all at 900. And now we've got to finish this out by going through the word com, and then it's going to go to the next one. So now we have yahoo.com, which was visited 50 times. The number will be 50, and the length will be 9. All right. So the map does not contain yahoo.com, so it's going to put it in there. But now we need to go through yahoo.com and splice out the subdomains. So we're going to look for, now we're just going through the word Yahoo, and we're going to come across the period. And so now we're going to define temp equal to the substring of that, plus the link. So .com. So now the map does contain the .com. So this is where this, we hit this line of code. So basically it's going to put, it's going to grab com, it's going to get the current value of com, which is 900, and it's going to add the value of Yahoo. So it added, if you can see here, .com. So yahoo.com has 50, and then now com, which used to be 900, has 950. And so now we're just going to go through the word com. We don't find any more periods, so now we're just going to go grab the next domain, which is intel.mail.com. The number there, which is just 1, and we'll get the length of intel.mail.com. So it does not, the map does not contain intelmail.com, so it puts it in there, and you can see here. Now because this is a hash map, there's no logical order of this. It's not like LIFO or FIFO, so it's just stuffing them in there willy-nilly. So intelmail.com. So now we're going to go through the word intel, and we come across the dot. So now we're at the word, we're at the domain mail, the subdomain mail.com. Now the map has mail.com, so it's going to add that to the current value of mail.com in the hash map. So if you look at mail.com, it's got 901. We added 1. And then we'll just go through until we hit the .com. So you can see here, temp is now equal to com, and we have com. And so we're going to get the current value of com and then add the number to it. So now if you look at com, it's got 950 plus the 1 that we just added. And so now it's going to go through, and we're at the last value, which is wiki.org, which that doesn't, none of this is in the hash map already, so this should be fairly quick. So number 5, wiki.org, length of 8. We'll put wiki.org into the map, wiki.org. Now we'll go through and lop off the word wiki and see that we have the word org, which the map does not contain that, so we'll just put that in there. And now we've got to finish going through the word org, and that is it. So you look at the map now, it's got all 7 of these domains and their values all added together. So now we just need to convert this to a string list. So the string number, we're going to get the number, and then we're going to add that number plus we'll get the key, and yeah, so then that just makes 951, and then com. So we'll just keep doing that until we get all 7 of them. And we'll return the answer, which is 951 and com, blah, blah, blah. And that is how you do that. So hopefully that was a little more clear. All right, so run this code. It was submitted using the first example, and then we'll submit it. I'll try one more time. 53% faster and uses less than 32% of memory. So this might not be the fastest answer, but I think it's the most clear and straightforward. And unfortunately, it is a lot of code. So the time complexity on this is O of n. If you increase the cpdomains string array, you're going to increase the execution time, because we're inside a for loop, and then we parse through individual characters inside that domain. Space complexity, same thing. The more inputs that we have, the more strings we have, we create a hash map, and so that's going to increase the size of the hash map. And that is it. So thanks again for watching. Let me know if you have questions, and we'll see you next time.